Yeah, we'll be a base 3-4 defense. We'll be multiple in our sub packages. But at the end of the day, it's like I never want to come into a situation and say, hey, this is what we're going to do. I always want to have the mindset of these are the players that we have. What do they do well? And kind of work from that direction. So.
And what have you seen that this defense does well, and what do you want to build on as you start this offseason process?
Well, I see there's high character, and you can just watch that by watching the film. And these guys play hard, they run to the ball, they play with great effort, which has always got to be your starting point. And there's some high-level players here. I think there's at each level of the defense, you have some big-time impact players. And so that's what we just want to build on. And we know they've done a good job. There's been some good moments of defense here the last couple of years. And we just want to try to build upon that with the support and collaboration with the players.
What's going on, Panther Nation? This your man, C. Dougie. I got my guy, Uncle Quan, with me, man. Training camp is right around the corner. Less than a week, Wednesday, July 26th, our Panthers will be in Wofford. My guy, Uncle Quan, and myself been in the lab checking out Evero's defensive schemes back when he was in Denver, trying to see how it aligns with the personnel that the Panthers do have in our roster, our signings that we brought in, meaning how does Scott Fitterer be strategic with some of the signings that are going to help with starting and depth-wise as well. So, like I said, we're going to get into it, tell you guys what the rankings were, show you a couple clips. We got our ace in the hole, our main man with the film breakdown, Uncle Quan. And then we're just going to talk about personnel, where we see certain people lined up in this defense. Go ahead and tell the people what's up, Uncle Quan.
What's up, everybody? What be going on, man? It's your boy Q, a.k.a. Uncle Quan. Welcome to the channel, fam. I appreciate y'all pulling up. For one, y'all go ahead and do us a favor. Hit that like button while you are here. Subscribe if you ain't already subscribed, man. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss the videos. Like my man Doug said, we got training camp coming up, and we got plenty of content coming out for you guys. You guys pulled up because you saw the title. So we're going to get into it. We're going to talk about this 3-4 defense, what to expect. Expect a lot of aggression. Expect a lot of physicality coming from this defense. We're going to get into it, fam.
You guys see in the clip, Evero has already described how our defense is going to be. It's going to be fast. It's going to be physical and confusing quarterbacks from which angles our blitzes are going to come, and even our bluff of blitzes to make a quarterback think that they're blitzing. Just last year, Denver had the number 7th ranked defense total throughout the league, averaging about 320 yards per game, 210 passing, 110 rushing. Also to go along with 24 takeaways. So this guy also, I have to give him credit for joining this staff, losing out to a head coaching position to Frank Reich, and Frank getting on the phone calling saying, hey, I know you didn't get the job, but come to Carolina, be our defensive coordinator, and I know this defense will lead you to being a new head coach. Not saying that's what he said, but I know with the numbers and the personnel that we have on this defense, Evero will be a head coach come next year. So just look at his mentors that he mentioned when he first joined the team. Just a couple of names. Monty Tiffin out of the Buccaneers. He worked alongside Vic Fangio, who's now the current defensive coordinator at the Miami Dolphins. Don Capers, our first head coach, who's back in Carolina as a senior assistant helping him. This man has already, just with those 3 names, has great mentorship and mentors that can help him and can help this defense be a top 10 defense where we sit in the middle of the pack. Then just a couple of other names. You got Wade Phillips. You got Brandon Staley, who is the head coach of the Chargers. And then you have Raheem Morris. Evero is a genius. I'm surprised he did not get any head coaching positions this year, but that is more fruit of our labor to help this coaching staff that is a A+ coaching staff across the board, even in the media saying that. So just with them also bringing him in, we also brought in a couple of key pieces in Vonn Bell, Tuttle, DeShawn Williams, who actually played with him and had a career high in sacks and 4.5 sacks last year. So even with these key free agents pieces that we had to go along with this defense, Carolina is primed to have a top 10 defense. Like my man Quan said, we're going to get into that film. We're going to break it down. We're going to see how his scheme worked in Denver, how Denver was that top 7 defense. So let's go ahead and get into it, Quan.
All right, family. Just like my guy Doug said, expect to see a lot of different looks under this Ejiro Evero defense. But right now, we're going to talk about the base defense. We're going to talk about this 3-4 and what to expect. So with a base 3-4 defense, you're only going to see this defense when we're going up against a 21 personnel. Basically, what this means is you're going to have basically 2 receivers. You're going to have your center, of course. You're going to have your guard. You're going to have your tight end, which is basically the strong side of the defense, because you're going to have another receiver lined up on the outside right here. So in the 21 personnel, of course, you have 2 receivers lined up on the outside of each other. Sometimes you'll see a look where they're stacked up on the same side. Just depends on what they come out in this personnel. And then, of course, you got 2 running backs. Basically, you're going to have your fullback. Here's your quarterback right here. You're going to have your fullback behind him. And then, of course, you got a running back. This is the 21 personnel on offense. This is the only time you're going to see the 3-4 defense. And now with the 3-4 defense, let's go position by position. Let's start with this nose tackle / D tackle. You're going to see guys like Derek Brown, Tuttle rotate in this position right here. You need guys like this to be able to eat those blocks up and basically be a disruption in that defense. This is basically the heart of the defense. This is the main position that is going to be the focal point of this defense. And you can line them up in front of the center, or you can offset them off the center to get more penetration when it comes to pass rush. Also, you got your ends, who's going to be basically lined up in front of those tackles. Now with the defensive ends, you can line them up in front of them, or you can line them up on the outside shoulder of the tackles. So expect to see them moved around a lot. These defensive ends are not going to be in the same spot. They're going to be lined up in front of those tackles, or maybe on the outside shoulder, depending on that look that they come out in. And then, of course, we're going to move over to our outside linebackers. You got our strong side linebacker, who's basically going to be the role of Frankie Luvu. Frankie Luvu is going to be on the strong side of that defense. Basically, these guys are going to be that pass rusher who's going to come off the strong side. They can also drop back in coverage if you need them to as well. So expect to see this role with Frankie Luvu. We've seen Frankie Luvu play this in the 4-3 defense as well. So expect to see a lot more versatility coming from Frankie Luvu this year. And of course, on the other side of the ball, you got the weak side linebacker, the wheel of the defense. So expect to see your best pass rusher lined up right here. Obviously, our best pass rusher on this defense is Brian Burns. Brian Burns, of course, is going to be coming off the edge. And just like in a couple of videos, you've seen him practicing the linebacker drills, he's also going to be able to drop back in coverage as well. So expect to see him being thrown in a lot of looks, basically giving him the best matchup possible. So if you see that this side is the weak side, they only have a guard and a tackle over here, you're going to have these D tackles or DNs eating up those blocks. You're going to have Derek Brown probably demanding a double team. So that's going to allow Burns to be free, basically. So he's going to be using his speed a lot in his defense, and he's going to be basically disrupting a lot in his defense. So expect to see his role immersed in his defense. Of course, you got the middle linebacker. This is the Mike of the defense. Of course, Shaq Thompson is going to be playing this role right here. This is a guy who's going to be left free. So they're going to be able to read the defense, and they're going to react basically based on what they're given. So you leave this guy free to play the run, or he can drop back in pass coverage. Whatever he's going to do, he's going to be basically the heart of the defense as well. So he's going to be able to see the whole field. He's going to be able to react based on what the offense gives him.
You actually have a lot of options behind Shaq Thompson. You have Brandon Smith, who did not get opportunity last year. You have Bumper Pool, the rookie, undrafted rookie out of Arkansas that shined. So this linebacker core is deep, but it's unknown. And if you aside our DNs that are actually outside linebackers / DNs, technically, outside of Frankie Luvu and Shaq Thompson, there's a lot of promise. But again, once we hit next Wednesday and we see how we set up in live coverage where there's cameras out, we will finally be able to see what this linebacker core can bring. Yes, even though we have opinions about Shaq Thompson was still a middle of the pack, number 15 linebacker overall from coverage to run stopping. So even though us as Panther fans have our problems with Shaq Thompson, he still was able to be a middle of the pack linebacker. And I think even in a different scheme, all these boys have been posting saying that they're so excited for this defense.
That's a great point. And then just like Doug said, these linebackers are going to be that kind of wild card. So with the Buck linebacker, personally, I would like to see Brandon Smith kind of step up in a role this year. And I would like to see him take on that Buck position. For right now, we don't know who's going to play this position at the Bucks. So look for a lot of competition in training camp. Again, me and Doug will be out there to basically scout out this defense and the offense. And we'll be giving you our pointers, basically letting you know who we think will play this position, who we think is going to be battling for this position. And then also moving on to the joker of the defense. Now, a lot of us are wanting Jeremy Chinn to play that linebacker position. Perfect role for Jeremy Chinn. Jeremy Chinn, he'll be the joker of the defense. Jeremy Chinn is allowed to come down in his box a lot under this 3-4 defense, and he's also going to be moved around a lot. He can drop back in coverage, or he can come down and play in the box. You'll see that a lot throughout this film, and you're going to see the role that Jeremy Chinn is going to play. So he's going to be used pretty much anywhere on this defense. You can drop him down, come blitz in this A gap, maybe in the B gap. It just depends. That's why I say he's the joker of the defense. You never know where he's going to be lined up, and he's going to be one of those main guys you're going to have to identify, especially with Jeremy Chinn being so athletic. You had guys like Troy Polamalu play in this position, and guys like Jamal Adams playing this position. Basically, those heavy hitters that are going to be very disruptive coming out of this defense. So expect Jeremy Chinn to take on a big role. He's going to be playing a lot in the box, and he's also going to be showing off his coverage skills, which he did somewhat improve last year. And then, of course, you got the free safety, the guy who's going to be able to see it all, the guy who's going to call the plays. You're going to have our guy who we just got out of free agency, who was a splash move, and Vonn Bell, a crappy veteran who's been in this league for a minute. He can see the field. He can kind of let everybody know where to shift, what he's seeing, and he can communicate based on what he's seeing. And then, obviously, you have our two corners that are on the outside, and J.C. Horn and Dante Jackson, who are going to be responsible for these receivers and can also be a blitzing piece. So if you bring these corners down, you can have athletic guys like Brian Burns and Frankie Luvu to come back and play that coverage for that receiver. They can kind of take on that assignment based on what kind of looks we're going to give them on the defense.
But let me jump in there with that, because there's a name that has been whirling around Panther Nation and also around coaches. Mr. Robinson out of Florida State, and former Gamecock, for those Gamecock fans that are Panther fans. Quan hit on the knot. We also have Xavier Woods, but most of the time we're going to have 5 DBs on the field. And what we're going to show you guys is Evero likes to have a safety or a additional corner that is either going to blitz, or like Quan has shown on our whiteboard right here, either going to blitz or it's a bluff and going to go back in coverage. So do not expect just to have Jeremy Chinn and Vonn Bell in the back. You might have Xavier Woods. You might have Jamie Robinson. You may have CJ Henderson. You may have Rajon Wright. You might have Keith Taylor. So we're going to have 5 DBs in some of these packages and sub packages, even in the video, like you said, we're a base 3-4, but a multiple defense. So don't think you're just going to have your 2 DNs, 2 linebackers, 3 D tackles. It's going to be confusing for defenses, and that's where he has achieved in the league and getting high accolades of being one of the Nets' best defensive coordinators and an upcoming head coach.
Doing hours and hours of research, just watching film on Ejiro's defense, he definitely likes to run a lot of nickel. Just like my man Doug said, you're going to see a lot more DBs on the field, depending on what they come out in. You're not going to see 3-4 a lot. I'm going to tell y'all that now. You're not going to see 3-4 a lot unless we are in that base defense, unless they come out in a 21 personnel, which is going to be pretty rare in an NFL. Obviously, this is a passing league, so you're going to see a lot more receivers than just 2. So just like my man Doug said, you're going to see a lot of our DBs get playing time, guys like Keith Taylor, guys like Jamie Robinson, if he is stepping up past that special teams role in his first year, which I would like to see. You will see a lot of different looks in Ejiro's defense, and I cannot wait to see this look. But right now, we are talking about the absolute base of the defense, because I know a couple of you guys had concerns about the 3-4 defense, thinking that it was just a 3-man front and just having basically 4 linebackers playing behind them, thinking that the middle was going to be killed. No, that's not how it works. So you play your guys. It's basically a 5-man front, just like my man Doug told me off screen. It's basically like a 52 defense, basically 5 guys on the line, 2 linebackers behind them. And it's going to be a look something like this pretty much throughout that base defense. So this is what the 3-4 base look like. Expect a lot of different looks coming out of this base defense. And of course, throughout the entirety of the defense.
This defense is going to be exotic. It's going to be fast. It's going to be physical. But as we know, as Panther fans, the one thing that we do fail at over years, regardless if it was Steve Wilkes or another defensive coordinator, we have to tackle. With you're not having that big body up at front, meaning that D tackle, that bit nasty, 300-pound defensive lineman that can hold that gap. Derrick Brown came into his own. He's already been named an honorable mention of one of the best D tackles in the league. But where we have to get at is, if we do not tackle, it's not going to be on Evero. It's going to be on this defense, because one thing we have failed at is arm tackling. Just yesterday, I was watching the Atlanta game, a game that is one game Carolina Panther fans want to forget. We had horrible tackling technique. You can't thud unless you're in practice. You got to wrap up and hit. And if we actually do a better job of tackling this year, I think our numbers will again be in the top 10.
All right, guys. So let's go ahead and talk about it. So this right here is a 21 personnel, just like we talked about on that whiteboard. So you got your two receivers on the same side. Just like I told y'all going to see those receivers being moved around, but it's still a 21 personnel. So you're going to see, of course, this base defense. Take a look at your screen. You got 5 guys on the line, just like we talked about, sort of like a 52 defense. So you got your 2 linebackers here. You got your Mike. You got your Buck. You got your strong side, or your strong side is going to be on this side. In this case, you got your Will, and then you got your 2 ends right here. You got your nose tackle. And then, of course, you got your strong safety playing up here and your free safety. And then, of course, your 2 corners. So let's take a look at this play right here. So in a 3-4 defense, you want to make the quarterback uncomfortable. You want to throw him out of his spot. You don't want him to be able to set his feet and get comfortable throwing in that pocket. You want to move him out of his spot and force as many incompletions as possible. If you are not able to get hits on the quarterback, if you are not able to sack the quarterback, make him uncomfortable, make him feel your presence. So right here is a perfect example of how you're able to throw him off of his spot. Offense is running a screen play right here, but watch how this nose tackle eats up that block. Gets past 2 guys, and they're not even able to set up the full screen play. Let's take another look at it right here. Take another look at it. I'm going to rewind it. Again, this nose tackle is going to be very important in this defense when it comes to eating up those blocks. And he did a great job of demonstrating how you can be very dangerous when you're able to eat those blocks up. That quarterback couldn't even get his feet set to release the ball, and they couldn't even get their block set up for the screen pass.
And that's one thing Derrick Brown showed. We were very hard on Derrick Brown, and he was even hard on himself because he was in his head. But he was so disruptive this past year that I think he will be a top 10 D tackle, and this is the perfect scheme for him. Then also, again, you're bringing Tuttle and DeShawn Williams into the fold, and you still have McCall as well. So with him having a good year, there should be no reason why we have a regression in Derrick Brown.
All right, so let's take a look at this play right here. Again, a 21 personnel. You got your 2 receivers lined up on the same side. Now, let's take a look at this joker right here. So this is basically Jeremy Chin's role. That strong safety that's playing up in the box in this situation. So this is a short yard situation. They need about 2 yards to move the chains. But watch how aggressive this defense is, and watch how this safety plays in the box to help stop this defense or this offense.
And then right here, like we're watching, one thing that first guy could have hit, I think this is Damian Pierce in the backfield. Again, tackling is going to be essential in this scheme, because if you miss a tackle, you do not, and like I said, most people think in a 3-4 running abuses 3-4 defenses. So if you do not tackle, you're going to see what's going to happen. Our first game of the season, Bijan Robinson, he's already getting, accolades of being rookie of the year, preseason rookie of the year, and people are already saying, look out for Bijan Robinson in week 1 against the Panthers. Let's see what Evero and what this defense can bring.
Yes, sir. Just like Doug said, you're going to have to execute. Now, Evero is going to put you in a position to make these plays, but we have to execute these tackles. So a lot of the plays from last year in that 4-3 defense, we've seen a lot of missed tackles. We've seen a lot of over pursuing, especially from guys like Brian Burns and Shaq Thompson, who missed a lot of arm tackles. So we're going to have to execute. Yes, you do have all guys rallying to the ball, and that's what you're going to have to do in this 3-4 defense. Everybody is going to have to rally to the ball. Everybody's going to have to gang tackle to basically be an aggressive defense, to be respected in the league. So once again, just like we talked about, you want to force this quarterback out of his spot. You want to make him uncomfortable, and you want to force incompletions throughout this defense. So let's take a look at it here. All right, quarterback making a check. Now watch how this end throws off that comfort. Look how he blew
the line up. He blew the line up.
Look at the wheel. This is going to be Brian Burns' role right here. They couldn't even hold him. The quarterback was very uncomfortable, threw it way over the receiver's head. Take another look at it right here, y'all. Watch how fast he comes off of this line. Look at this get off speed. He gives himself some more leverage by scooting over to the outside, give himself a running start. And I mean, damn, he blew it up. Watch how he slides out to the left to give himself a running start. He know exactly what he's about to do. He said, okay, I got a double team, so let's get it. And takes on those double teams like a grown man.
And then with him doing that, even though he did not hit the quarterback, it had the quarterback feel pressure. So it was a pressure throw. So like I said, that's one thing Burns does do. People may want him to get sacks, but he does apply pressure. He does apply pressure. And like I said, the thing that's going to help Brian Burns is having a above average DN / linebacker on the opposite side of him. Is that going to be Marquise Haynes? Is that going to be Barno? Is that going to be DJ Johnson? That other side of that linebacker core, when they need to have that DN / linebacker personnel on the field, is going to be important. I forgot about YGM. Can't forget about him. It's either make or break or him. Because if you can't fit in this scheme, I hate calling people a bust. You're just not here for the Panthers, man. So like I said, it's very important that somebody steps up to the plate. Either we sign somebody or somebody steps up to the plate and it holds down that opposite end of Brian Burns.
All right, guys, moving on to this next play. This is another example of making that quarterback uncomfortable. He has to make a quick decision right here because the defense is coming very quickly. You guys saw a couple of examples of how he's able to throw these, or how this defense is able to throw the quarterback out of his spot, make him uncomfortable. And throughout the game, that's going to start to get to his head. I don't know if you guys seen the quarterback series, but throughout a game, there is processes where they learn the defense. They have to learn the defense and they understand how they're coming. So if this defense is constantly pressuring that quarterback, the quarterback is going to have to make fast adjustments. He's now thinking, okay, this ball has to leave my hand very quickly. And watch how the defense forces him to have to throw this ball. So again, in the 3-4 base defense, he has a short yard gain because he had to get rid of that thing quickly. And watch this Mike linebacker pick up this tight end. This is Shaq Thompson's role. He sees him coming out, trying to sneak out with him, and he stays with it. Let's take another look at it real quick. Great job by the middle linebacker to pick this tight end up. Stays with him. This edge comes off and force that quarterback to get the ball out of his hands quickly.
And then really and truly, that's what Shaq Thompson sees at within 5-yard routes, close to the line. Not saying he doesn't have track down speed, but anything close within 5 to 7 yards, most of the time Shaq Thompson kills that route or he jumps the route and picks it off. But shout out to Quan, man. He went over. If y'all have not checked out the quarterback series on Netflix, you are missing out on great content from 3 quarterbacks, one being a Super Bowl champion, MVP, Pat Mahomes. I'm not going to tell you the other 2 quarterbacks, but that breakdown right there, what Quan just said, it shows the mindset outside of football. Their livelihood outside of football, and even when they're in that helmet listening to coaches. So like Quan said, this is important for our defense to confuse quarterbacks, because if you confuse a quarterback, you can give them headaches throughout the game. You can get them headaches throughout, leaving that field when they got to get into their personal life. So again, man, like I said, this defense can be scary. And yes, like you said, you see the thumbnail. We do believe this defense can be a top 10 defense.
There we go. So moving on to this next play. Let's take a look at this joker right here. Basically, Jeremy Chin's role this year in the strong safety. Now, you see him lined up way back here, basically pretending that he's going to play coverage, maybe even stay back and read the offense. But watch how he slowly sneaks up into the box for a strong safety blitz. Now, this is going to throw off a lot of blocking assignments, and it's going to cause this short gain from this run game. So let's take a look at it real quick. Watch him sneaking up in the box, and then he shoots that gap, throwing off the blocking assignments, and this is a short game by the running back. A couple of missed tackles. This should have been 8 up in the backfield, but this is an example of how you're going to see this joker being played in the defense. Throwing off those blocking assignments, and if you execute these tackles, you can get this guy in the backfield.
All right.
Going on to this next play, taking another look at the joker and how he's able to throw that quarterback off. Now, take a look at the quarterback. He's not able to fully process his reads. He has to force that ball out of his hands early. You see how quick that joker came down and forced that quarterback to throw it to the flat. And even with him throwing to the flat, he's not able to get anything after that. So the joker comes down in the box. He is free. Nobody's blocking him. He's right in the quarterback's face. And that defense rallies to get that flat guy. And they keep him right, keep everything in front of him.
Correct. And that's one thing, Quan, you just reminded me when we were talking about it yesterday. One thing Evero is definitely important on is communication. If you have not heard, whenever we were looking at the blueprint, when Evero was talking to Shaq, he said, one game you might not hear me. You better know how to communicate across the board from front to back what we're doing. I don't want there to be an issue with communication. And if you just look, everybody knew their assignment, because when you have that safety / nickel or corner coming down, like Quan alluded to, you're going to see this back safety have to come across the field to make sure he has his assignment. There should be no reason why we have broken assignments with no communication. Evero has said that if you don't communicate, he'll find somebody that will.
All right, guys, moving on to this next play. Of course, looking at this base defense, another 21 personnel example. You got 5 guys on the line once again. Here's your corner. He's playing inside a little bit because there's nobody on the outside right here. And then, of course, you got your joker playing back, and then you have your free safety playing back as well. So take a look at how they're able to clog up these running lanes. There's nowhere to go for this running back to run. There's nowhere to go. Take a look at it from another angle so you can see the blocking assignments and how they're able to basically eat up these blocks. All right, everybody eats up their block, keep their outside hand free, and they're able to rally to this tackle. Watch this nose tackle. He keeps that outside hand free to basically throw off the running back. The running back doesn't have a lane to go through because he's throwing off his legs. You can't run without your legs, obviously. And then the linebacker comes and cleans this thing up. And this is a gang tackle right here. Take a look at it one more time. Again, this nose tackle is very important in this defense. Very important. All right, guys, here's the last example of the footage that we have for this 3-4 base defense coming out of this game against the Houston Texans. Let's let this play run and we'll talk about it. Take a look at the front, 5-3 or 5-2. There's nowhere for this guy to go. Take a look at the aggression. You need your defense to be aggressive because that is going to wear and tear that offense. They're not even going to be coming with physicality throughout the duration of the game if you're being this physical with them. There's nowhere to go. You're letting them know all game that I'm here. And watch the communication of the defense. They're taking a look at this offense. They're communicating. Just like Doug said, you're going to have to be able to communicate. And this is something that Ejiro Evero emphasized with his defense. You need to communicate because there's going to be times where you're going to, like he said, slip you the okie doke and you're going to have to call the plays. And this defense does a great job of communicating with each other. And again, that nose tackle gets off that block and everybody rallies to that ball. You even see them stripping this man helmet off. That's aggressiveness that we need in this Carolina defense.
I appreciate Quan doing that, man. Like I said, this man is really behind the scenes watching as much film as he can. Like I said, if you guys have not checked out my guy Uncle Quan's breakdowns from Bryce Young, CJ Stroud days to now we're doing a defense. He's done Hayden Hurst. He's done Laviska Shenault. Who else am I missing? You did a Miles Sanders video. This man asked the community, the Panther community, what do you want me to break down so you guys can know exactly what we're going to see on the field? Again, training camp starts next Wednesday. I know my guy's going to be out there. We will see him and myself there on this on next weekend. We will have the camera out. We will be recording. We will be engaged with the fans. Hopefully, you're not camera shy. You can tell us, hey, I see the Panthers going 11-4. Oh, I see us having a bad year. Whatever you guys have, we will be out there recording, engaging, and definitely come back with some new content to show you behind the scenes with Uncle Quan's experience and what's up, Dub, from training camp.
I can't wait, man. We're gonna be out there like a scout team, man. So we're gonna be looking at the Panthers team. And I mean, we're going to look at every position. There's a lot of exciting things to look forward to with this Panthers team because there's a lot of newbies here. And then there's a lot of oldies who are basically trying to fight for a role. There's a lot of people in a prove it or lose it kind of year. So it's a lot of eyes to be kept on these players. And I can't wait to get our first look in training camp. And then, of course, you're going to have Fan Fest. And then, of course, you're going to have preseason, getting even further looks into this this offense and defense, and even special teams, and basically all phases of football from this Carolina team. And going into the regular season, we're going to be able to know exactly what we have based on what we're able to scout. And as for training camp, like my man Doug said, we will be in the building, and it's going to be hot. So if you're pulling up the training camp, make sure you dress accordingly. Make sure you bring your fans. Make sure you're drinking your water, all that good stuff. And yes, we will be coming around, just interacting with you guys, getting your opinion, and just including you guys in the content. We want to be very inclusive, and we want to hear from you guys because you guys are like our family, our big family, and we want to hear from you. We want to hear your opinions. What do you think this Panthers team is going to bring this year? And we can't wait to pick your brains and go back and forth with you guys, man.
Yes, sir, man. As always, that was up, Doug. You know we appreciate the love. We appreciate the support. Like Quan said, I ain't going to go to like, comment. Leave a comment. Tell us, do you think Evero is not going to help this defense? Do you think Shaq Thompson is not the middle linebacker that we need? Do you think Jeremy Chin is not going to be better? He, is a bust. Let us know. Leave a comment. You can do the likes, you can do the shares, but leave a comment. We enjoy the camaraderie and the communication back and forth through the comments, man. That's all I got. It's your man, C. Dougie. Quan, go ahead and close it out, man.
All right, guys. Just like my man Doug said, go ahead and hit that like button if you haven't already. And we will see you guys on the next video, man. Y'all stay tuned. As always, stay true to yourself. Keep being you. Follow those dreams and turn those dreams into goals and go get it, fam. Love you guys.
Yes, sir.